Hey everybody, Jam Creates here. Got another comic review for you as my voice goes out again. Still struggling with that. Um, Welcome. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, jingle that bell for notifications. Alright, so I've got a review here of issue number 2 of the actual Roger from Alterna Comics and Hank Tucker. If you don't know, Hank Tucker he was the director of the Tick animated series. So definitely a good pedigree there. It is a 5-issue series. This is number 2. I reviewed number 1. I enjoyed it. So here's issue 2. And when we jump in, we've got a little, recap of what's going on here, being told by Roger himself. He was basically dropped off to be Magnanimo's new sidekick. He's like this big superhero, like a Superman type superhero. And Roger had discovered his power, and pretty much his power is that he can fly like a foot off the ground. It's not that impressive of a power, but he ends up getting dropped off as a sidekick, and then a call came in and they had to go and had to face this giant whale creature thing that was causing havoc, and it's called the Behemoth, which is a very funny name. I enjoy that name. She is a whale. She's a sperm whale. It was some sort of an accident. They basically just kind of somebody was messing around with sperm whale DNA, and whoops, an unhappy accident. So she is all mad at the cosmetics industry, apparently. So she's she's like a humanoid sperm whale who wears a grass skirt and trash can covers as a bra. Definitely a unique look for a character, for sure. First, I want to just get into the art style on this book. I love how it has a unique style. It is very much reminds me of like an old, almost like an old comic strip kind of style, like a very classic I would almost say like 1930s, 1940s kind of style for Roger. Like when you look at his eyes, it's very like almost Orphan Annie-ish kind of thing. Even the hair, and then Magnanimo is a very classic superhero design. He looks like a very classic superhero. It's just, I do really enjoy the art style. It's just got this timeless look about it that almost to me feels like this is an old story that like is only being discovered now, which is why it's kind of funny sometimes. I find it almost a little bit jarring when they make mention of modern things like cell phones and stuff like that. It always strikes me as a little bit weird because I feel like this shouldn't have cell phones and stuff like that, because it just evokes this classic feeling for me. I don't know if I'm alone in that feeling. I mean, if you feel the same way, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Maybe it's just me, but I always have this like strange feeling of like this is like this should be taking place in like the 50s or something, and it's not. So that's always a little bit like funky for me. I love this whole thing that happens here with the police officer. I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's a funny bit. So he tells Roger to take notes on what he's doing, and then Roger ends up distracting him, and because he can't get the cap off of his pen, and then suddenly, Magnanimo is in a bad way, and he's hinting in a specific way. I won't give away how he's hinting. I'll let you read that for yourself, because that's funny too. He's hinting in a specific way for Roger to help him, because the keys for the handcuffs fell down the storm drain, and Roger is trying to get it. He gets the hint. He's trying to get it, and then he's about to get stepped on by... Just look at this, by the way. Just look at that. Now, who couldn't love that? I'm kidding. Obviously. A blue wig, and she would fit right in on the internet. Anyway, Roger is about to get stepped on, and he's like, oh, like he gets scared, and then he suddenly, like, does this thing where he crumples himself up into this little, like, pebble kind of size. This is a great panel with the giant foot. I love it. And then, like, this is a great panel too, just with the sound effect and just that big old hulking purple foot just slamming down on where Roger was. And then what happens? Is Roger squished? Is he dead? What could happen? That'd be a short series. The series would be over in 2 issues. It's supposed to go 5. What's up with that? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. And Roger, it turns out Roger has, another power. He not only can he fly like 2 feet off the ground, but he can turn into this, like, little ball and roll around. I'm just going to skip a few pages just because I don't want to spoil too much. You know how I feel about that. So anyway, there's Roger in his ball form bouncing around, and he helps them get the keys, and then, of course, do they eventually defeat the bad guy? Well, I mean, what do you think? So it leads to actually a really pretty funny bit where Magnanimo is trying to get the Behemoth to swallow this pill, and so he's trying to convince her to just eat him, and like he wants to commit suicide, and he just wants her to just eat him, and she's like, ew, no, that's gross. She's like, I don't eat people. Like the mere thought of closing my ribs around the scourge of my ancestry sickens me. Like, she's like, I'm not, like, okay, I may be a monster, but I'm not a monster. Like, I don't want to eat people. So they eventually do wind up, of course, defeating the Behemoth, and then there's a little bit of a hint at the end of the issue of what's coming next. I don't want, I don't like to spoil stuff, so I don't want to give away too much. But it's a fun issue. It's definitely a fun read. Like I said, it's got that classic style, and this one is 30-something pages. This issue, it's actually it's a big issue. It's like 36 pages, I think, something like that. Like, so it's like a 36-page issue for $1.50. So now, for $3, you can get the first 2 issues of this book, which I think the first issue was actually more than 22 pages also. 22 pages generally is, what you figure the average comic book length. I still go by that. I know it's not really necessarily true anymore, but I still kind of just use that as a baseline for length of comic. But this is like a 36-page comic book for $1.50. And it's fun. It's funny. It actually has drama. It has this nice little line of, it's silly, but at the same time, there is some drama to it. Like, so it'd be interesting to see where it goes from here. I mean, clearly they have, Hank Tucker's got a plan for this, and he's got more villains in mind, and he's got things that are coming ahead. Obviously, like I said, he hints at the end of the issue of something that could be a threat to Roger's family, maybe. And there's no sign of his neighbor in this issue. We didn't see the neighbor. Remember, the neighbor who could, like, turn himself into, like, goop. We didn't see any sign of him yet, so not sure where that's going to go. But now we also know that Roger has more than one power. So now I'm wondering, as the series goes on, Roger is just a no-name sidekick that nobody cares about, really. Will he eventually... I'm assuming he's going to eventually develop into more, but could he actually, one day, could the actual Roger turn into an actual superhero? Is it possible? Could he develop so many, like, different powers that he becomes an actually powerful superhero? And not be laughed at by everyone, like on every cover, he's always getting made fun of. Like, even here, like, we've got people like, you know, they call that a superhero. I call it child endangerment. So, you know, interesting stuff. We'll see what happens. It's definitely a fun read. It's got a unique art style, which I definitely appreciate. I did a whole video just the other day about unique art styles in comics and how I want to see more of that. I like to see people bring their own style to a book. So anyway, I would definitely recommend it. $1.50, actual Roger, Hank Tucker, lettering by Wes Loker. Did I say Loker or Locker? I think it's Loker. I know, Wes. I mess up your name all the time. I'm sorry. So anyway, that is my review. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And you can follow me on Twitter at jam_creates. I'm on Instagram at jam_creates on there too. So anyway, I will talk to you guys soon. And keep an eye out for the next video. And listen, well, we'll go over Roger here. Wow. Peace out.